Good morning. Land of stories, that's what we're gonna read today. Why am I covered in drool? Why am I covered in drool? I have an idea why. I have an idea of why. I have an idea of why. And I think it's you. I think it's you. I do. I think you're the reason I'm covered in drool. But that's okay. Good morning to all of you. Missed yesterday but caught up this morning, yes. Who knows what we'll get through today, but it should be good. Should be good, very exciting. More Land of Stories, more fun. Let's go get the milk. 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 Ba, ba, ba. Okay. Sasha, you ignore me and Becca's text. I did. You know what? It's not ignored. What it is that until 8:30 every morning, my texts are on mute. So unless I actively go to check, I don't get alerts for them. That's why. Was it important? Is it something that I should know right now? The reason I did that was originally because my texts were always waking up secret husband. Oh, you're impatient. Oh, okay. So before baby was born, I muted everything until 8:30 because it was always waking up my husband. So do you guys want to hear something crazy? You want to hear something crazy? I'm going to tell you something crazy. Good morning, everybody. The crazy is, so you know how there's all this construction happening in our house? So yesterday, a vendor came and rebuilt the cabinets in our bathroom, you know, where all the construction's been going on. And he was there basically all day yesterday, rebuilding and doing all that stuff, yada, yada, yada. And we were like, okay, 7:30 p.m. last night, he finishes. Great. We love it. We still don't have the floor, but we have cabinets, right? Okay, we love a cabinet. And he comes out and he says, excuse me, can I show you something? And we're like, sure, what's up? And he's like, there's a leak. There's a leak in the cabinet that he just rebuilt. So, needless to say, we stood up and go, and it seems as though they never fixed the leak before ripping up our floor, ripping out the cabinets, etc., and so on. Then they just rebuilt everything, but there's still a leak. So we have a bowl under it right now that we've been checking constantly, like crazy, because we don't want it to get on the floor again, because we don't want them to have to rip out the cabinet again, and it's inside the cabinet, so we have to keep it dry so that we don't have to go through this again. It's insane. Like, when he said it, I literally looked at my husband and I was like, you have to be kidding me. And we went and we took videos and photos of it immediately with a timestamp, because I was like, your vendor just left and it's leaking. Like, we haven't used that bathroom in almost 3 weeks now. Hey. So, like, what are we even talking about here? Yeah, they need to pay loss of income. Same guy that was supposed to be working upstairs. I don't know that answer. That I actually don't know. Need to fly out there and go to management office. Seriously. Like, it's crazy. It's actually insane that there's still a leak. He says that she will correct it. Please, I would love for her to do that. Yes, she does agree. So anyway, that is the current situation. I really thought that we were going to be done with this week, but now who effing knows? So they're supposed to come today to look at the leak. We submitted a ticket for it last night, and the only time they had available was 2 p.m. But needless to say, we're going to call the office when they open and be like, hey, can you come now? Because is there any kind of lawyer, tennis rights or something? Yeah, I mean, I have to check into it. I'm going to talk to them first and all that, but it's still just like crazy. I'd be like, yeah, no, really. Like, I'm just, no, it's not okay. There's nothing about it that's okay. I just, like, we were so baffled when he said that. Like, I just don't understand it for the life of me. Like, what is happening? How is it possible that there's still a leak? Or a leak again, one of the two. We have not used it at all. Not once. So, you know. Yeah, well, no, you know who needs to look at it? My Aunt Philomena is a lawyer. I need to have her look at it. But why did I just stop popping everybody in rage? Because we have a leak again. We have a leak again. If you can believe that, Sophie. Yeah, my lawyer aunt. Yeah, we have a leak again. In the same place where they supposedly fixed it, and they just fixed the cabinets, and it's leaking into the cabinets. So obviously we're not letting it just like free leak into the cabinets. We have towels, and we have both towels and a bowl under it to prevent like further damage, because like you have a responsibility to mitigate your damage. Again or still, right, again or still. We don't actually know. Again or still. Yeah. Yep. So that is the current situation. I really thought that this was going to be over today. I really did. I feel like the people who work in the office are living in La La Land. Like, no joke, Wednesday last week, which was a week ago tomorrow, I got an email from the office that said, hey Sasha, good news. We're on track to finish your work on time. Everything will be done by the 14th. That was on the 13th that they sent that email, and they hadn't even started the rebuild. So I responded to that email and I was like, awesome, I'd love for it to be done by the 14th. When are they planning to start the rebuild? No reply. The next day, I got a call from the office and they were like, hey, we're sending someone up today to put on the finishing touches of the paint. And I was like, finishing touches? They haven't even done the starting touches. You are quite in a mood, aren't you? Do you think you might want to take a nap? It would be really great. Huh? Do you think you could lay your head down? What do you think? What do you think? It'd be so good, right? It'd be so good. Did you tell them that when they called? I did. I said that exact thing. I was like, that would be awesome, but they haven't started yet. And he was like, what do you mean they haven't started? And I was like, well, they haven't started the rebuild, so how are they going to finish it and paint it if they haven't put in the floor yet? And he was like, they haven't put in the floor yet? I was like, no. And he was like, I thought that they did that yesterday. I was like, no one was here. And he was just baffled. So they have terrible communication, apparently. All right, wiggly worm. You are the wiggliest of worms, millions, huh? Ah, no. I spilled, honey, I spilled. Such a spill. Maybe the contractor is not giving the right info. Yeah, I don't know, because everything that the contractor has told us has ended up being correct. Because when the contractor came to, yeah, I have been. I followed up with emails. Good morning. So, hey, can you give me a a second. Every time that the contractor has come here, they've had correct info. For example, the contractor came to do a quote and they said how long they thought it was going to take. You are in a mood, aren't you, my dear? And it's pretty much exactly what they originally said. The office was like, oh no, it'll only be 3 days. And I was like, that's not what the contractor said. And I kind of believe the contractor over the office. You know? So can you guys see my face? Do you see this? Do you know what that is on my face? Does anyone have any idea? Do you guys want to make any guesses what this is? Right here? Yeah. It's my child's nails. Yeah. I don't have leprosy. I have a 6-month-old. It looks like I have leprosy, but I don't. Yes. Yes. I do not have leprosy. I have a 6-month-old. We're going back to basics with the bookmarks that Anya, oops, sorry, it's upside down. Anya gave me these bookmarks back when we were using physical books, and then we got a Kindle and we haven't used them in a while. But we're back to physical books, so we're back to using Anya's bookmarks today, which is great. We love to see it. I love having a reason to use them. It's good. This little lady, the office is trying to get out of paying rent or what? Yeah, I know. That's exactly what they're gonna do. I completely agree with you, Stephanie. I completely agree. So you, my beautiful angel, I remember those. I love them. Yeah, no, I still use them, obviously. I had them. I knew exactly where it was. I was like, I need a bookmark because we have a physical book, and I knew exactly where I had left them. I do still read some physical books in my own time as well. Okay, so you are in need of a nap. Do you want to look at mommy? Hello, my beautiful angel. How about a nap? How about a nap? How about a nap for you? What are your thoughts? Schedule auto emails, a promise time. Yeah, right? Seriously. Okay, so I'm going to put my glasses on and we're going to try to read. I also wanted to tell you guys something that is going to be happening today or tomorrow. I don't know which it is going to be, but I am going to be putting out a video that is important. And when I say important, I mean I would love your assistance in getting the information from that video out to anyone you know who is a parent or might want to be a parent or anything else. Be nicer to you than your friend is. Yeah, seriously, yours isn't doing a great job either, huh? Yours is scratching you from the inside. Mine is now on the outside doing it. So I can't give a lot of details on here, but I'm going to be making a video later today about a carrier. And there are some really serious issues with the company that makes the carrier that I'm going to be talking about. And it is rampant on TikTok, and it's because they are offering influencers a pretty penny to sell their carrier, essentially, and it's not safe. Not safe for babies, not safe for parents, not safe for literally anyone, for a number of different reasons that I'm going to go over in my video. So I'm hoping that we can get that information out there. They are trying to hide a lot of the facts, which is very disingenuous, and they are paying influencers a good amount to make videos talking about them. Obviously, I decline because I will not be taking money at the expense of a baby's life. That's not something I would do. So once I found out all the information, I screenshotted it all, and yeah, exactly. I screenshotted all the information, including the lawsuit that is going on about it currently, and I'm going to be putting it out today in detail. The reason I'm not talking about it in detail here is because I want the screenshots, because you come with receipts or you don't come at all, right? Right, baby? You really want to go to your mat, don't you? Do you want to sit down? You don't want to go to sleep, but it'd be so nice if you went seepies. What if you went seepies? It's time for seepies. It is terrible. It's bad. Yeah. So anyway, we're going to talk about that later. I'll get into the details. Yes, I am going to use what I have to educate to the best of my ability. All right, so in the meantime, while we're on happy time, I wish you guys could see what she's doing. She is actively standing up against my body to try to get on camera. She can see the camera, but that's not enough. She wants to see herself in the camera. She says, no sleepies, only playtime. But you know what? You're not allowed on camera. I mean, you are allowed on camera, but only for my... That's why I only buy Sasha Proof Carriers. That's what reason I was... Yeah, no, really. She is a star. It's true. But there are so many people who will just post anything as long as they're being paid. And I don't play like that. Sorry. I don't do that. Nope. I'm not going to do it. But we're going to test the carrier today in good faith. Yeah, right? She's like, meep, 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 meep. You want to play peekaboo? Where's mommy? Look at mommy. Where's mommy? Where's mommy? There I am. I'm going to test the carrier in good faith today, and we're going to see what happens. You know? Maybe the lawsuit's wrong. I don't think the lawsuit is wrong based on the findings, but it's ongoing. You should at least know what you're getting into when you're purchasing things. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm going to say. Okay. Chapter 3. Yes, with Jamantha, of course. Actually, I will say, I am going to keep the carrier that was sent to me for education purposes, and I am going to use it in my learning library with the doll, because it will help people understand what they're looking for when they're looking for pitfalls. If they put it on and they understand, oh, look, the waistband folds. Well, you don't want a waistband that folds from a doll, because then, of course, it's going to fold from a baby. You know what I mean? So I am still going to use it, actually, in teaching. I really am. They sent it without you agreeing to back it. They did. They did. Can you believe that? They sent it with no obligation for any videos. Interesting, right? They found out that I was certified, and they will send one to, get this, any certified person to use in their learning library with no expectation of a video. Do you want to know how much it costs them to make it if they're willing to send it to literally anyone? Yeah. $5.30. I looked it up. Yeah. So I think that they probably expect that most people who receive them for their why are we making those puppy dog sounds? I think that they expect that anyone who receives it for the learning library will see how much they give commission on TikTok Shop and will just do it. I think that they assume that. And in most cases, they're probably right, you know? Okay, we're going to go to the mat. We're going to go to the mat. You want to play? You really should be sleeping. That's the thing. You really should. You would do better if you were sleeping right now. There you go, Angel. I'm not going to fight with you, even though I think I'm right. The other thing is, so I played dumb a little. Here's the thing, like, you guys, I actually already knew some of this stuff, but when I found out that they were doing the, like, you know, influencer thing or whatever, I played dumb, and I was like, oh, sure, I'd love one for my learning library. You know what I mean? Like, because it allows me to get the information out there. You know what I mean? I spy with the shelves. Which shelves? Over here? Oh, the food shelf. Yes, the food shelf is good. We need more. God, she destroyed my face, you guys. Look at that. I literally look like I have leprosy. Oh, the groceries. Yeah, yeah. Hey, how are you? Are you happy to be on your mat now? Okay, so we are gonna read. Did you guys see my shirt? It says sobs. Does he even read? Perfect book club shirt. It is painful. Yeah, it's painful. I'm not gonna lie. But we're gonna read now. What do you think? What do you think, Smiley? What do you think, you smiley angel? Healing ointment was a must for me at that age. I need to get some. If you have a recommendation, you know I'll take it. Well, why are you got your wish? You're on the mat. What's the deal? Here, you want this bunny? Okay. Chapter 3. I'm telling you, she's Jasmine raised her nails instead of Edward Scissorhands. I know. Who said I think it was Anya who the other day was like, baby scissor hands or something like that. I don't remember who said something, but it was very funny. Okay, so we are going to read chapter 3 now together as a group. Yay! You can follow along. All right, she'll be the one to tell you if I mess anything up. All right, chapter 3, a birthday surprise. Oh, okay, good to know, Amanda. Pencils down, Mrs. Peters ordered from the front of the classroom. Her students were taking a math test, and she had been watching them like a prison guard the entire time. Pass your tests to the front. Connor looked down at the test as if it were written in ancient hieroglyphics. Most of his answers were blank, and he had just scribbled around the others to make it look like he tried. He said a little prayer to himself and passed his test forward with the others. All the tests were passed to Alex, who stacked them in a neat pile for Mrs. Peters. Relatable content. She always felt so refreshed after taking a test, especially one as simple as that one had been for her. Her brother's test caught her eye since it was the one with the least amount of writing on it. Alex knew that Connor always tried his best at school, but it never seemed to be good enough. She looked back at him, wishing that... It's fine. We're fine. Wishing that she could help him, and then it occurred to her. Maybe she could. Alex looked up at Mrs. Peters and saw that she was busy looking at notes in her lesson plan. Would her teacher notice if Alex quickly filled in a couple of the answers for her brother? Yeah, that is why, Amanda. Was Alex even capable of doing something so blatantly wrong? Was it considered cheating if you were doing it on someone else's test? Would the gracious gesture cancel out the offense in the grand scheme of things? Alex was prone to overthinking everything, so she just did it, and she quickly filled in some of her brother's answers, making her handwriting slightly sloppier than it usually was, and she handed the stack of tests to Mrs. Peters. It was the most spontaneous thing that she had ever done. "Thank you, Miss Bailey," Mrs. Peters said, making eye contact with her, and Alex felt like the pit of her stomach had fallen out of her body. Hey, Brittany, we're barely just half a page in. The excitement she felt from her impulse was now overshadowed by guilt. Mrs. Peters had always trusted her. How could she do something so juvenile? Should she confess what she had done? What would the punishment be for her crime? Would she feel this guilty for the rest of her life? She looked back at her brother, and Connor let out a long but quiet sigh, and Alex sensed her brother's sadness and embarrassment. She could feel his hopelessness as if it were her own. You get that rocket ship, baby girl. Good reach. The critical wheels in Alex's head stopped turning. She knew that she had done the right thing, not as a student, of course, but as a sister. "I want you all to get your homework out from last night," Mrs. Peters commanded, "and I would like you to briefly present your work in front of the class." The teacher regularly surprised the class with impromptu presentations to keep them on their toes. She took a seat on the stool in the back of the room, uncomfortably close to Connor's seat so she could keep an eye on his consciousness. One by one, the students presented their assignments to the class. Besides the boy who thought Jack and the Beanstalk was about an alien abduction and the girl who claimed that Puss in Boots was an early example of animal cruelty, all the students seemed to have interpreted the tales correctly. "It was so hard to choose just one fairy tale to write about," Alex said as she animatedly presented her 7-page paper to the class, "so I chose the story theme of which is present in virtually every fairy tale and every story ever written: Cinderella." Her excitement was not shared by her peers. "Many people have had issues with Cinderella, saying that it has anti-feminist elements," Alex continued, "but I think that's completely ridiculous. Cinderella is not about a man saving a woman, it's about karma." Most of the class began daydreaming about other things. Mrs. Peters was the only person in the room who seemed even slightly interested in what Alex had to say. I'm going to pause for a second and say, if you want to see what Alex looks like in real life, go watch my videos about 7 Brides for 7 Brothers, because what she just said about Cinderella sounds oddly familiar. Honey, your mom might be an Alex. It is what it is. No, Think about it, Alex went on. Even after years of constant abuse from her stepmother and stepsisters, Cinderella remained a good person with high hopes. She never stopped believing in herself, in the good of the world. And although she married the prince in the end, Cinderella always had inner happiness. Her story shows that even in the worst of situations, even when it seems like no one in the world appreciates you, as long as you have hope, everything can get better. Alex let her mind linger on what she had said. She questioned the last point that she made in her presentation. Was that really what Cinderella was about, or was it what she needed Cinderella to be about? Thank you, Miss Bailey. Very well said, Mrs. Peters said with the closest thing to a smile that her face was capable of making. And thank you all for your time, Alex said and nodded to the class. All right, it's your turn, Mr. Bailey, the teacher announced. She was sitting so close to him that he could feel the warm breath from her nostrils on the back of his neck. Connor went to the front of the classroom, dragging his feet as if they were encased in concrete. He had never had trouble talking in front of the class, but he would rather be anywhere in the world than presenting something in front of a teacher. Alex gave him an encouraging nod. Hey, what are you doing? Hey, hey, hey. You know how to lift your head up. Why are you pretending that you're drowning? Hey, get up. Do I have to put you on your back? If you can't pretend like you know how to sit, then you gotta be on your back. Yeah. Yeah, you can't be face down. No, you know better than that. You know how to... She turned right over. She's like, watch me be face down. You're allowed to be on your stomach, but you gotta keep your head up, kiddo. That's the rule. That's the rule about being on your stomach. You gotta keep your head up. Or put your head to the side. You can lay down with your head to the side. It's you in a minute, Steph. Well, I mean, you won't have her down on her own for a while, but yeah, soon enough, right? I chose the boy who cried wolf, Connor said, going against his sister's advice from the day before. Alex slumped in her seat and Mrs. Peters rolled her eyes. This was very disappointing. No, look, I know you're all thinking that I went with the easiest one, Connor said, except reading it again, I don't actually think that the story is about the importance of honesty. I think that it's about high expectations. Alex and Mrs. Peters both raised an eyebrow. Where was he going with this? Yeah, okay, sure, the boy was a brat. I can't even deny that, Connor continued, gesturing to the half-a-page paper that he had written. But can you blame him for having a little fun? Clearly his village was having a bit of a wolf problem, and everybody was just stressed about it. He was just a kid, and they really expected him to be perfect all the time. His presentation may not have been the best, but it certainly was catching the class's attention. And it makes me wonder, why was no one even watching this kid? Connor added. Maybe if his parents had had an eye on him, he wouldn't have been eaten. I think that the story's trying to tell us to keep an eye on our kids, especially if they're pathological liars. Thank you. Connor never tried to be funny. He was just painfully honest about his thoughts and opinions. This honesty always amused his classmates, but never his teacher. Thank you, Mr. Bailey, Mrs. Peters said sharply. You may sit down now. Connor knew that he'd blown it. He took his seat, resuming his position under his teacher's cold stare and warm breath. Why did he even bother trying anymore? It wasn't the end of a school day unless Connor felt completely worthless. Hey, Kristen, so do we. There was only one person who was capable of making him feel better. Connor only wished that person were still around. Mr. Bailey always knew when his son needed to talk to him. He didn't have anything to do with observation or intuition, but it had to do with location. Occasionally, Mr. Bailey would get home from work, and he would find his son sitting up in the oak tree in the front yard with a contemplative look on his face. Connor, Mr. Bailey would ask, approaching the tree. Hey, is everything okay, bud? Uh-huh, Connor would mumble. Are you sure? Mr. Bailey would ask. Yup, Connor would say unconvincingly. He wasn't vocal about his troubles the way his sister was, but you could see it in his face. Mr. Bailey would climb up the tree and have a seat on the branch next to his son and coax out what was troubling him. Hey, are you sure you don't want to talk about it? Mr. Bailey would continue. Did something happen at school today? Connor would nod his head then. Yeah, I got a bad grade on a test, he admitted on one occasion. Did you study for it? His father asked. Yes, Connor said. I studied really hard, Dad, but it's just no use. I'll never be as smart as Alex. His cheeks turned bright red with embarrassment. Connor, let me fill you in on something that took me a long time to learn, Mr. Bailey said. The women in your life are always going to seem smarter. That's just the way it is. I've been married to your mother for 13 years, and I still have trouble keeping up with her. You can't compare yourself with others. But I'm stupid, Dad, Connor said, his eyes filling with tears. No, I find that hard to believe, Mr. Bailey said. It takes intelligence to be funny and tell a good joke, and you're the funniest kid I know. Humor doesn't help with history or math, Connor said. It doesn't matter how hard I try in school, I'm always going to be the dumb kid in the class. Connor's face went white and expressionless, and he stared off into nothing, so ashamed of himself that it hurt. Lucky for him, Mr. Bailey had an encouraging story for just such a situation. Connor, have I ever told you the legend of the walking fish? Mr. Bailey asked him, and he looked up at his father. The walking fish? Connor asked. Dad, no offense, but I don't think one of your stories is going to make me feel better this time. All right, suit yourself, Mr. Bailey said. And a few moments passed, and Connor's curiosity got the best of him. Oh, okay, fine. You can tell me about the walking fish, Connor said. Mr. Bailey's eyes lit up as they always did just before he was going to tell a story. Connor could tell that this was going to be a good one. Once upon a time, there was a large fish who lived in a lake all by himself, Mr. Bailey told him. Every day the fish would watch longingly as a boy from the village nearby would play with all the horses, the dogs, and the squirrels on land. Is a dog gonna die in this story, Dad? Connor interrupted. Because you know stories. I hate them when the dog dies. Let me finish, Mr. Bailey went on. One day, a fairy came to the lake and granted the fish a wish. That's random, Connor said. Why do fairies always show up and do nice things for people that they don't know? Employment obligation? Mr. Bailey shrugged. But, for argument's sake, let's just say she dropped her wand in the lake and the fish retrieved it, and so she offered him a wish as a thank you. Happy now? I know. Well, honey, you made that choice. That's the direction you went. You decided to go over Mommy's leg. You decided to go over Mommy's leg. Here, you want Mommy's leg out of your way? I thought it was helping you hold up. Here. We're so frustrated because we're sleepy, huh? Are you sleepy, frustrated? Yeah. Is that your farm book? You want to read your farm book? You can read your farm book. Mommy's just going to hold you up with her legs. Wait, whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. Why are we upset? Why are we upset? You want to scratch the heck out of Mommy's face. Okay, well, can we do something else? Can we do anything except scratch Mommy's face? You want this block? How about this block? Yeah. Here you go, Drooly. That's better, Connor said. Okay, go on. The fish, predictably, wished for legs so that he could play with the boy from the village, Mr. Bailey said. You don't like this story? Is that what's happening? Okay, listen to the story. So, the fairy turned his fins to legs and he became the walking fish. That's weird, Connor said. Come here. Yeah. Let me guess. The fish was so freaky looking that the boy never even wanted to play with him. Nope. They became great friends, and they played together with all the other land animals, Mr. Bailey told him. But then one day, the boy fell into the lake and he couldn't swim, and the walking fish tried to save him, but it was no use. He didn't have fins anymore, and sadly, the boy drowned. Connor's mouth hung open like a broken glove compartment. You see, if the fish had just stayed in the lake and not wished to be something else, he could have saved the boy's life, Mr. Bailey finished. Dad, that's a horrible story, Connor said. How does a boy live by a lake and not know how to swim? Dogs can swim. Couldn't one of those have saved him? Where was the fairy when the boy was drowning? I think you're missing the point of the story, Mr. Bailey said. Sometimes we forget our own advantages because we're focusing on what we don't have. Just because you have to work a little harder at something that seems easier to others doesn't mean that you're without your own talents. Connor thought about this for a moment. All right, I think I get it, Dad, he said. Mr. Bailey smiled at him. Now, why don't we get down from this tree and I will help you come up with your own way of studying. Hey, what? Okay, let's talk for a second. Now that we've had the story from Mr. Bailey, why are we in this mood? Why are we in this mood, huh? Yeah, the hand crept up like, yes, that's what I want. I know, all she wants is to scratch my face off. You're so tired, honey. You're overtired. You are. Hey, look at mommy. Look at mommy. Hi. Hi. Hello. Mr. Bailey is changing my life with these quotes. I know, right? Gas is gone, more milk. Yeah, maybe more milk, yeah. She ate for 20 minutes right before book club. That's a long time. Do you want an ice pop? Oh, what about an ice pop? Hold on, let me go get you an ice pop. Hold on. What about an ice pop? Hold on, give me 2 seconds. 2 seconds. Look at this. Look at this. Wow. Ooh, ice pop. It's full of grapes, so it won't stain anything. There you go. Take it. Yeah. Yeah, the big girl spurt. I lost mommy and it's not my fault, right? Yeah, mommy and I, yeah, they voted against us. It's true. She's so funny. All right. Well, she seems content with that, so that's great. Mr. Bailey smiled at him. Now, why don't we get down from this tree and I'll help you study for your next test. I told you, studying doesn't help, Connor said. I've tried and tried and tried, and it never helps. Well, then we'll come up with your own way to study, Mr. Bailey told him. We'll look at pictures of people in your history books and we'll make up jokes about them so you remember their names, and we'll create funny scenarios to help you with all those math formulas. Connor slowly but surely nodded his head and agreed to it. Fine, he said with a half smile. But for future reference, I like your story about the curvy tree better. The walk home that day was very quiet. Alex could sense that her brother's presentation had left him a little tense. She tried breaking the silence every few steps with supportive comments, or at least she thought that they were supportive. Hey, I thought you made a good point, she said sweetly. Granted, it's not a point that I would have ever made. Thanks, Connor replied. She wasn't helping. You may have overanalyzed it, though, Alex said. I do it all the time. Sometimes I read a story and I interpret it the way that I want to rather than the way that the author intended me to. It just takes practice. He didn't respond. She still wasn't helping. Well, it's our birthday today, Alex reminded him. Are you excited to be 12? Not really, Connor admitted. It just feels like 11. But aren't we supposed to be getting a new set of molars soon? Oh, come on. Let's be positive, Alex insisted. Even though we aren't doing anything exciting for our birthday, we should still stay optimistic. There are plenty of things to look forward to. 1 more year until we're teenagers. I suppose, Connor said. Only 4 more years until we can drive? And 6 until we can vote and we can go to college, Alex added. That was all they could come up with. Their cheerfulness was hollow, and they both knew it. So they just stayed silent for the remainder of the walk. Even if they had the most extravagant party in the world waiting for them at home, birthdays were always going to be hard for them. School had been predictable, the walk home had been typical, the whole day had seemed normal. There wasn't anything out of the ordinary to make their birthday feel special at all, until they got home, and they saw a bright blue car pull into the driveway. Grandma? The twins said in perfect unison. Surprise! Yelled their grandmother, getting out of her car. She was so loud the entire neighborhood could hear her. The twins ran up to her with huge smiles on their faces. They only saw their grandmother a couple of times a year, and they were stunned to see her in their driveway with no prior warning. Their grandmother hugged both of them so tight they thought they'd pop. Look at you two, she said. You both look like you've grown a foot since the last time I saw you. Their grandmother was a petite woman with long, graying brown hair that was pulled back into a tight braid. She had the warmest smile and the kindest eyes in the world, which wrinkled pleasantly when she smiled just like the twins' dad's eyes had. She was cheerful and energetic and exactly what the twins needed. She always wore bright dresses and her signature shoes with white laces and brown heels. She was never more than a few feet from her large green travel bag and a blue purse. And although their grandfather had died many years before, she still always wore her wedding ring. We had no idea that you were coming, Connor said. Oh, it wouldn't be a surprise if you knew that I was coming, Grandma said. What are you doing here, Grandma? Alex asked. Your mom called and asked me to stay with you while she went to work, Grandma told him. I couldn't let you spend your birthday alone, could I? Reminder, no spoilers. I'll even mute regulars if there's spoilers. Yes, no spoilers. This is so important. I agree with Liz. I'm excited, but no spoilers. Thank goodness I was in the country, Their grandmother was retired, and she spent most of her year traveling around the world with her other retired friends. Sounds like Nana and Pap. That's not a spoiler. Those are her actual grandparents. Nana and Pap travel a lot. They traveled to mostly third world countries to read to sick children in hospitals, and they taught other children in the communities to read and write. All right, come help me with the groceries, Grandma told the twins, and she opened her trunk, and the twins began unloading bags and bags filled with food into the house. It was enough food to last them for weeks. Mrs. Bailey was sitting at the kitchen table going through another stack of mail with big red warning labels on them, and she quickly pushed them to the side when the twins and their grandmother paraded into the kitchen with the groceries. Oh, what is all this? Mrs. Bailey asked. Oh, hello, dear, Grandma said to her. I'm planning on cooking the twins a huge birthday dinner, and I wasn't sure what you had in the house, so I went to the store and I picked up a couple of things. Their grandmother always had a talent for sugarcoating the truth. You didn't have to go to all this trouble, Mrs. Bailey said, shaking her head, unprepared for this gesture of kindness. Oh, no, it wasn't any trouble at all, Grandma said with a small and reassuring smile. Side note, this is a totally different grandma than Grandmere. I don't think so, Liz, which is unfortunate, all things considered. Well, fortunate and unfortunate. Grandmere would never. She'd probably buy her a dinner at the plaza. And, you know, this is funny. Anyway, Alex, Connor, how about you go get your birthday presents from the front seat of my car, and I'll catch up with your mother for a second. But don't open them until tonight. They happily did as she asked. Presents was a word that had been absent from their vocabulary for a long time. See, I told you, Alex said to Connor on their way to their grandmother's car. Optimism always pays off. Yeah, Connor said. And half a dozen wrapped presents with bright bows, each one was marked to one of them, and was waiting in the front seat of the car. The twins returned inside with their gifts, and their grandmother and mother were still having a conversation that most likely they weren't supposed to hear. Things are still tough, Mrs. Bailey said. Even after selling the bookstore at the house foreclosed, and we still have some debt and things unpaid from the funeral, but we're making it somehow. In a few more months, we'll be back on our feet. Grandma took Mrs. Bailey's hands into her own. If you need anything, dear, and I mean anything, you know where to find me, she said. You've already helped me so... Speak of the devil. You've already helped me so much, Mrs. Bailey told her. I don't know where we'd be now if it weren't for you. I could never ask you for anything else. You're not asking, I'm offering, Grandma said. I wish you guys could see her right now with her little ice pop. She's laying on her side, chewing on the ice pop. It's adorable. You're very cute. The twins knew that if they eavesdropped any longer, they'd be caught, and so they walked back into the kitchen with their presents. Well, I do have to go back to work, Mrs. Bailey said, and she kissed both of the twins on the tops of their heads. Have a great night, you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow. Save some celebration for me. She gathered her things and mouthed a meaningful thank you to their grandmother on the way out. Yeah, she kind of does look like an otter, actually. It's very cute. That's a very good comparison. Grandma put her things away in the guest bedroom and returned to the kitchen where she found a stack of bills Mrs. Bailey had put aside. She plopped the mail into her own purse with a smile, and that was that. Grandma loved helping people, especially if it was against their will. Let's get started on dinner, shall we? Grandma said, clapping her hands. Alex and Connor sat at the table and visited with their grandmother while she cooked up a storm. She told them about her recent trips, the difficulty she and her friends experienced getting in and out of places, and all the interesting people that she had met along the way. I never met a person that I didn't learn something from, Grandma said. Even the most monotonous people will surprise you. Remember that. She was cooking so many different things that... You think that's funny? Yeah. She was cooking so many different things, it was impossible to tell which ingredient was going where. Everything she did was so fast, and she used almost every pan and dish that they had. With every second that passed, the twins' stomachs growled louder and louder, their mouths salivating more and more. Did the juice go down the wrong pipe? She's like, this is delicious. Is it so yummy? Yeah. Finally, after a few hours of aroma-teasing torture, they ate. Alex and Connor had become so accustomed to frozen dinners and takeout they forgot how good food could taste. Yummy. There were plates of mashed potatoes and macaroni and cheese, oven-roasted chicken with carrots and peas, and freshly baked rolls. It sounded like party. Party! Their kitchen table looked like the cover of a cookbook, and just when they thought they couldn't possibly eat any more, their grandmother pulled out a huge birthday cake from the oven. The twins were amazed. They hadn't even realized that she'd been baking a cake. She sang happy birthday, and the twins blew out the candles. All right, now open your presents, Grandma said. I've been collecting them for you all year. They opened their boxes, and they were flooded with knickknacks from all the countries their grandmother had been to. Alex was given copies of her favorite books in other languages, Alice in Wonderland in French, The Wonderful Wizard of Oz in German, Little Women in Dutch, and Connor got a pile of candies and tacky t-shirts that said things like, my crazy grandma traveled to India and all I got was this lousy t-shirt. They both received several figurines of famous structures like the Eiffel Tower, the Leaning Tower of Pisa, and the Taj Mahal. It's crazy to think that places like this actually even exist in the world, Alex said, holding the Eiffel Tower in her hand. You would be amazed to know what's out there just waiting to be discovered, their grandma said with a smile and a twinkle in her eye. A day with very low expectations had turned to one of the best birthdays they had ever had. As the night grew later, the visit with their grandmother began to come to a bittersweet end. Since Dad had died, they never saw their grandmother for more than a day at a time, and there was always a few months in between each visit. She was so busy with her travels. When do you leave? Alex asked Grandmother. Tomorrow, she said, as soon as I take you to school. The twins' posture sank a bit. What's the matter? Asked their grandmother, sensing their spirits sink. We just wish that you could stay longer, Grandma, that's all, Connor said. We really miss you when you're gone, Alex added. Things are so gloomy here without Dad, and you make everything seem like it's going to be okay. Their grandmother's constant smile faded slightly, and her gaze drifted toward the window, and she stared blankly into the night sky, and she took a deep breath. Oh, kiddos, if I could spend every day with you, you know I would, Grandma said longingly, perhaps more disheartened than she intended to show. But sometimes life hands us certain responsibilities, and not because we want them, but because we're meant to have them, and it's our duty to see to them. All I can think about is how much I miss you two, and your dad when I'm away. It was hard for Alex and Connor to understand. Did she not want to travel as much as she did? Their grandma looked back at them. Her eyes were bright with a new idea. Oh! I almost forgot. I have one more gift for you, Grandma said, and she jumped up and skipped into the next room. She returned carrying a large old book with a dark emerald cover titled The Land of Stories in gold writing. Alex and Connor knew what the book was as soon as they saw it. If their childhood could be symbolized by one object, it would be this book. It's your old storybook, Alex proclaimed. I haven't seen that thing in years. Their grandmother nodded. No, it's very old, and it's been with our family a very long time, Grandma told them. I take it with me everywhere I go, and I read it to the children in other countries, but now I want you two to have it. The twins were shocked by this gesture. What? Connor asked. We can't take your book, Grandma. That's the Land of Stories. That's your book. It's always been so important to you. Their grandmother opened the book and flipped through the pages, the entire room filled with the musty paper aroma. Oh, that is true, said Grandma. This book and I have spent a lot of time together over the years, but best of times were when I read it to you, so I'd like to pass it down to you now. I don't need it anymore. I have all the stories memorized anyway. She handed it to them, and Alex hesitated, but finally accepted the book from her grandmother. It didn't feel right to take it. It was like receiving an heirloom from a relative who was still alive. Whenever you're feeling down on the days when you miss your dad the most, or when you just wish I were here, all you have to do is open it up and we'll all be together in spirit, reading along, Grandma told them. You like the grandma accent? Oh, thank you. Now, let's get ready for bed. They did as she asked, and even though they were too old for it, their grandmother insisted on tucking them into their bed like old times. Alex took The Land of Stories to bed with her that night. She gently flipped through the old pages, being careful not to tear any of them. Seeing the colorful illustrations of places and characters made her feel like she was reading an old scrapbook of sorts. She loved spending time reading about fairy tale characters more than anything. They had always felt so real and accessible to her. They were the best friends that she had ever had. I wish we got to choose which world we lived in, Alex said, running her fingers over the illustrations. They were so inviting. In her hand was a world unlike the one she lived in. It was a world unaltered by political corruption or technology. It was a world where good things came to good people, and a world she wanted to be a part of with all of her being. Alex imagined what it would be like to be a character in her own fairy tale. You're not even eating it. How are you coughing when there's nothing in your mouth? You think that's silly? Here, take it. You dropped it. Take your grapes. There you go. Alex imagined what it would be like to be a character in her own fairy tale, the forest she'd run through, the castles she'd lived in, and the creatures that she would befriend. Eventually, Alex's eyelids began to feel heavy. She closed the land of stories and she placed it on her nightstand and clicked off her lamp. She began to drift off to sleep, and she was just about to fade into unconsciousness when she heard a funny noise. Where'd you drop it? Where did it go? Oh, here, it's right here. Yummy. A low humming sound filled her room. Here, you gotta hold it. This part's important. Can you hold this? Can you hold this for Mommy before I can finish this part? It's very important. It's a very important part. You want to read it? You gotta learn to read first. She went. Here. Here, chew on this for one more minute, okay? One more minute. There you go. A low humming sound filled her room. What in the world? Alex said to herself, and she opened her eyes to see what it was, but she saw nothing. Huh, that's strange, she said, and then she closed her eyes once more and began to drift back to sleep. The humming noise began to buzz through the room again, and Alex sat up and looked around her room and finally found what was making the noise. It was coming from inside of the land of stories on her nightstand, and, to her amazement, the pages were unmistakably glowing. Dun dun dun! The next chapter is too long for us to finish now because baby girl has a class today, but that was an amazing chapter. I know, it's so exciting, Aisa. I'm so excited. The storybook is glowing. Don't bless you. Bless you. Do you want this? You want this? Yummy. Yummy. Yeah, it's so good. The storybook is glowing, and we don't know why. The book is called The Land of Stories by Chris Colfer. This is the first in a series of 9 books. Well, that's good, Amanda. That makes it exciting to hear again, right? It was a dun-dun-dun moment. Yeah, hearing it like it's new is very exciting. Ah-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Ah-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. You want this? What did I do with the cap for this thing? What do you think I did with it? I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter right now. You don't want any more? Do you want to sit up? Do you want to sit up? Very good. Very good. Good sitting. Good sitting. You want to crawl over Mommy's legs? Okay, go ahead. Wait, what? I missed it. Why is Stephanie missing? Wait, what are you missing? I have to... Oh, pediatrician interview. Yeah, that is a good reason. You're right. That is a good reason. Oh, you're right. It is on the floor. It's right there. Good memory. Pediatrician interviews are important, though. We did that in December, actually, because we thought she was going to be born in February. Thank goodness we did it in December because she was actually born in January. But yeah. Here, have the rest of it. Have the rest. You don't want any more? Okay, then I'm going to close it if you don't want any more. Where are you headed? January what? 25th. Her birthday is January 25th. Yes, I didn't know it was a thing in Alaska. It's not. Well, yeah, because you probably don't have enough to even, you know. It was good memory, Roxy. Yours is the 22nd? Oh, that's so close. That's very close. Yeah. What book were we finishing up on the 22nd? I don't remember because we started a new book on the 25th. The day she was born, we started a new book. The Office and You See Whoever's Available. Yeah. Definitely not a thing everywhere else. What we did, I had to research a lot to find pediatricians that aligned with how I wanted things to go, and then I called around from there, and we went to interviews and things like that. Anyway, we are gonna go. I'm gonna try to get her to nap right now because she has class at 11, which is in less than 2 hours. And if she doesn't sleep before that, we are gonna have a rough time in class. I think we have the last Hunger Games to finish. No, we're done. We're done with all the Hunger Games now, Anya. Here's like finding a new kid is impossible. Oh yeah, that was hard too. Once and Future Witches, we started the day she was born. It's just like a baby movement and music class. It's not anything like serious, but she loves it. Whoop, bonkity bonk bonk. What are you doing? She's like this, laying over my leg with her hips on my leg and her head sideways on the floor. She's so tired. Was it a memoir? Could have been. Could have been. I can't remember. Once and Future, which was so good. I love spooky season. Yes, we do need to find another book for spooky season, for sure. So, anyway, I will... Oh, that is her grabbing the tripod, you guys. She just moved you all. Oh, Mallory's book, yeah. She just moved the tripod. That was her. We're in trouble, friends. By the by, we ordered a playpen. I know, me too, Ray, me too. And I don't know if you guys know this, but Ray got me a signed copy of that book to commemorate the day. It was a Princess Diaries book. Oh yeah, I think you're right. It was. That's right. That's right. Avery's right. It was Princess Diaries. That's right. So what was I gonna say? Oh, are you so upset? Why are you so upset? Oh, okay, we're gonna go. All right, we're gonna go try. Yeah, we definitely bought a playpen because she needs to be locked in during book clubs so that I don't have to get up and run after her when the time comes. I'm gonna put her in a wrap and we're gonna try for a nap because she needs it. Bye, guys. Oh.